Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to episode 68 of the Prosperous Yogini Podcast. And we have a two-parter for you today. I nearly sang that Prosperous Yogini Podcast. Maybe I should start singing it. Anyway, two-parter today. So part one is today, part two will be next week. And part one today is 6 steps that you can take to gain confidence as a yoga teacher. I am all about what confidence is, what confidence look like at the moment, how I can get confident, because if you haven't noticed, if you're following me on social media or if you're on my mailing list, you will know that I have some amazing free training coming up. Monday, the 9th of October, the Confident Yogi CEO. It's a 3-part training, Monday the 9th, Tuesday the 10th, Wednesday the 11th of October, 2023. We start at 1 o'clock, live every day for 45 minutes. And it's all about gaining confidence as a yoga teacher and a yoga boss. So part one in the podcast this week is about what it looks like to have confidence in your ability as a yoga teacher, what 6 steps that you can take, 6 actionable steps that you can take to feel more confident, to gain confidence as a yoga teacher. And you've guessed it, next week, part 2. I will do the yoga boss, confidence as a yoga boss. And I just want to say, before I get going on those 6 steps, I find the topic of confidence, what confidence is, why we would label somebody as that person's confident and I'm not confident, and where that comes about. And I imagine like maybe some of you guys listening to the podcast, following on social media, would make an assumption that I can do all this stuff. I can do my weekly podcast. I can show up on social media because I am confident, right? And yes, do you know what? I'll own it. I am confident in my abilities as a yoga teacher, as my abilities as a trainer and a mentor, and my ability to support you. Does that mean that I don't have moments where I lack confidence? I mean, hell yes, I lack confidence. There are moments where my confidence levels dip, and there will always be, wherever you are, wherever I am on our journey, on our path, on our career path, there will always be moments where I lack confidence in my ability to do something. And I want you to know what I'm trying to say is confidence in anything that you do, in any sort of like aspect of your life. It is just simply not the case that some people are born confident. They're just lucky they're confident. And some people lack confidence. Now, I won't lie, there may be some external factors that, may impact our ability to be confident, but ultimately, confidence is something that comes with time, practice, and support. That's where confidence comes from. Let's liken it to our yoga practice. The very first time that you came to your yoga mat, the very first time that you went to a yoga class, how confident were you in your abilities as a yoga practitioner? And how, we probably would have gone not very confident. I mean, I remember my first yoga class. I think I've told this story before, but I went with my sister, contemporary dancer, had spent, vast majority of her life up to that point in body work, moving her body. She was confident in her body, movement of her body, how her body moved. And therefore, when she came to a yoga class, had the confidence to make those yoga shapes. I had never done yoga before. And I was like, what is going on? And I didn't feel very confident. I didn't know what was going on. But over time, over practice, time, and the support of a teacher, I gained confidence in my abilities as a yoga practitioner. And I want you to know, whether this is part 1, how to gain confidence as a yoga teacher, or part 2, how to gain confidence as a yoga boss in your business, the formula is practice, time, support. That's how we gain confidence in anything that we're doing, Okay, because I could just talk about this. I'm trying to go for 6 steps, 6 actionable steps. So the first one, as I've already said, is practice. So let's think about this. I'm a yoga teacher, and right now I've got my current cohort of foundation yoga teacher trainees are about to do their final teaching practice, are about to finish their course. And at this stage in their yoga teaching career, they are probably lacking some confidence in their abilities as a teacher. Now, it varies depending on experience. So I've got some people on my course that are all teachers already in education, got experience of standing up and talking to people. I've got some body workers, massage therapists, some people who are already teaching physical activities. They've got that experience that gives them some confidence that they can apply to their yoga teaching, whereas others come from different backgrounds. So they're all at different stages, but they all need to do the same thing. In order to gain confidence as a yoga teacher, they need to go out and practice. And what is very, very common for many at this stage in their career, they've nearly finished their yoga teacher training, is they don't go out and teach a class. They're planning to. I'm just going to wait until this. I'm going to wait until this time. I'm going to wait until I'm ready. I'm going to wait until I do this extra training. I'm just going to wait until, I don't know, January. I wasn't ready in January. I'm going to wait until April. We're waiting. And the longer you wait to get teaching, the less likely it is that you will get teaching. That goal gets further and further away and seems further and further, possible. Great example. Let's take it out of the teaching world. You've just passed your driving test. How confident do you feel as a driver? Okay. How do I gain that confidence? By getting in my car and practicing. If I pass my driving test and I don't continue to drive, I may have a driving license, but 6 months down the line, 12 months down the line, I will not feel confident to drive and I'll have to have some lessons again. And I pick up this person all the time in my mentorship program and in my training courses. They've done their foundation teacher training course. They didn't teach 2 years, 6 months, 12 months down the line, that get in contact with me saying, I'm qualified as a yoga teacher. I've not done anything with that. And I now don't feel like I could go out and teach, despite the fact I've got this qualification. So step number 1 is practice. Go out and teach. And if you're not feeling ready to teach a public class, teach some friends, recruit family members, but just go out and teach. I call it go out and cut your craft, okay? And every single teacher that you are following on Instagram, looking up to, thinking, wow, they're amazing. I would love that business. I would love to be that person. They all went out and cut their crafts. They all had early days of teaching where they may have been going out and getting it wrong, teaching small class numbers and building their business. We have all been there, all been there. So step 1 is practice. Okay, that is the number 1 thing you've got to do to gain confidence in your skill as a yoga teacher. Step 2, you have to allow yourself to fail, or better put, allow yourself to be human. This is so important. I talked a little bit about it last week with Flo, how I feel like we put huge expectations on our shoulders as yoga teachers to teach new, exciting and engaging classes, to come up with a new theme every week, to come up with a new sequence every week, to know all the possible medical and physical conditions. So when someone comes to us and says they've got X, we know what it is and we know how to modify the class for them. We also know everything there is to know about anatomy and all the names of the muscles in the body. We are never allowed to make a mistake, even beat ourselves up if we get right and left confused, if we forget our sequence. How hard are you after every class? So allowing yourself to fail, allowing yourself to go out and teach a bad class, allowing that narrative at the end of that class, which you decided was bad anyway, it may not have been a bad class, but allowing that narrative to be kinder, allowing that narrative not to be, well, that was rubbish. None of that lot are coming back. I don't even know why you're doing this. allowing the narrative to be, okay, I'm not sure that quite worked out. Why might that be? Not, I'm rubbish, I don't know what I'm doing. Why might that be? What could I do differently next week? What could I do differently next time I go and teach? Here is how. Practice step 1, allowing ourselves to be human and to fail, make mistakes, then feeds back into the loop of practice. Because unless I'm going out every week and unless I'm getting things wrong and then feeding that back into my practice to refine things, then I am not gaining confidence in my skill as a yoga teacher. Because what happens is X goes wrong. Yeah, okay, didn't quite work out. Next week, I'm going to try Z. You go and try Z. You're like, that was received so much better. That gives you a confidence boost. Not just that you decided that class was rubbish, nobody's coming back, and you turn up and everyone who was there last week is here this week. And that also gives you a confidence boost. The counter to that then is if someone doesn't turn back up or doesn't sign in for your next block of classes, you will always assume it's because you're rubbish. I'm always like, when someone says my class numbers are dropped, one of my regular students isn't coming anymore, I've lost a couple of real regular students, it must be me, I must be rubbish. What I would say to that is there are a multitude of reasons why people, for whatever reason, don't come back to class or have a break from coming to class. And I would not assume it is you. And sometimes it's really useful to ask, like, you can do it in a really normal way, like, hi, notice you haven't booked on, we'll miss you next term, is there a reason? And often the reason will be completely unrelated to you. And that has helped me actually, confident wise, because I've realized, like, yeah, there'll be the odd person that's like, they don't tell me to my face, I didn't like that class, it wasn't for me, and they don't come back. But the majority of the time, if someone's not coming back, it's got nothing to do with me. That has really helped my confidence. Not just that, over time, okay, time, again, practice, I've realized that it's actually quite a good thing if there's some people that come to my classes and don't like it, because what I really want to cultivate is a group of people who are my raving fans, who love what I do. And again, time and practice has taught me that these people exist. So step 1, go out and practice. Step 2, allowing yourself to fail. It's so important, allowing yourself to get it wrong. Step 3 is being a reflective practitioner. Okay, so this means that you're not like, wow, excuse my language, that was shit, I definitely need to give this up. It's okay, what if next time I did this? And I love that question, what if? Reflecting on what happened, not from a point of view, let's pull out, let's identify everything that I think I did wrong. More that, what if I did it like this next time? What if I played like this? And what if we started like this? And what if I approached it like this? And what if I mixed in this? And what if I didn't play the music? So I wasn't stressing about my Spotify playlist and my speaker. But that reflective practitioner and seeing yourself as a reflective practitioner, the practice of teaching yoga. I go out and practice, I allow myself to fail, okay? I allow myself to be human, I allow myself to have good and bad days. And then I reflect, maybe not, if you're teaching 10, 12 classes a week, it's going to be quite hard to be after every class, but maybe stepping back and having an overview of your teaching, what you might play with, do differently. So your interests in teaching, your interest in the practice of teaching is kept alive. So reflective practitioner, I love that term. I stole that from my education days. I think we need to apply this to ourselves. Now, step 4 is allowing you to be in your own lane and on your own path. So if you are comparing yourself to another teacher, maybe it's a teacher on your training course even, and they, like I've said, my graduates have come from a whole load of backgrounds. They're at different levels of confidence because of that. They are all on their own path. And if you allow yourself to be in your own lane, in your own path, and you don't compare yourselves, to other people that can really help to stop you from knocking the confidence out of yourself. Because when we compare ourselves to other people, when we are full of the should-isms, I should be where that person is now, I should be able to do that, what that teacher's doing there, that knocks our confidence. It's a form of self-sabotage. So allowing yourself, I am on my own path, I am in my own lane, and allowing it to evolve at a pace that's right for you. Practice allowing yourself to fail, reflecting on what you're doing at a pace that is right for you, because you are honoring you and your own path. Then step 5, support. I think it is so hard to be self-employed in a service-based industry. That's your yoga teachers, you're self-employed largely. The services, we're selling our services as a yoga teacher. I think it is so hard to do it alone. I look back to my days in education. I was in secondary education as a music teacher for 12 years, okay? And one of the things that always kept me going in those moments where I felt like things weren't working out, in those moments where I thought my lessons were rubbish, in those moments that I was lacking in confidence, was the support network of my colleagues. And in yoga teaching, we are often in our own little bubble, going out, doing it by ourselves. And I really do encourage you to find supportive networks. And with all the love and all the goodwill in the world, your friends and your family members, yes, are supportive networks, but may not quite understand what it's like to be a self-employed yoga teacher. And when we reach out for them for advice and support, it might not always be the stuff we need. So Flo, episode 67, please listen to that podcast if you haven't. Flo talked about being a yoga teacher in Brighton, very saturated, lots of yoga teachers in Brighton. And one of the things that actually has worked for her is finding support networks and working with other teachers. And I have to say that has really worked for me. I have the lovely Jane Craddock, who I run my yoga teacher training course with. We are always bouncing ideas and problems off each other. And then Natalie, she's been on the podcast. I can't remember what episode it is. She's come on and we talked about being trainers. Natalie's like my trainer buddy. Like, you know, it's hard being a trainer. Like, where's the support? And it's important for you to find a peer who is where you are. You're both going through the same things. And there's not that competition. There's not like a them versus you. It's somebody who wants you to thrive and you want them to thrive, and they support each other. So finding your support network, and that, you know, might be something you need to go and create, reaching out to other local yoga teachers. And when you do that, like, some of them are not going to want to hang out with you. Some of them are like, no, it's not what I want to do. But you will find your tribe. You will first find your supportive network. And lastly, step 6, this is important, guys, is mentorship. I've been thinking quite a lot about my conversations with Flo last week, because Flo, as well as being a yoga teacher, is also in higher education. So we both had these educational backgrounds, and we both, in those professions, there is support, mentorship. You're not a reflective practitioner by yourself. You're not trying to guess, was that right? Should I do this? You have guidance from someone, and a mentor is someone who is further along the journey than that you are, have had that experience being where you are now, and can use their experience to guide you. Mentorship is so important. And I think we should move to a place in the yoga world where mentorship is industry standard, that you do your training, you do your foundation teacher training course, and you are fully aware that in order to have longevity and success as a yoga teacher, that mentorship will be essential as part of that success. So I'm going to go through those 6 steps. Step number 1, practice. Go out and teach. Okay, nothing improves teaching like teaching. Allow yourself to fail. Allow yourself to make mistakes, because you will learn from your mistakes. If you don't go, you don't know. Step 3, but cultivate the mindset of a reflective practitioner. So I make the mistake, or I don't even label it as a mistake. that felt a bit sticky. What happens if I did it? Maybe it went well, but I want to play around and do something slightly differently. What happens if I do this next time? I don't know. I'll go and try. Reflective practitioner, looking at, what went well, celebrating your successes, and then considering how you might refine or do something differently, just for play, just for experiment, just for curiosity next time. Step 4 is allowing yourself to be on your own lane in your own path. Okay, you are going to be gaining confidence in your skill as a yoga teacher at your own pace. Comparing yourself to somebody else or setting your standards, I should be where that person is. It will never, ever, ever make you feel confident. You will always feel like somehow they're better than you, right? Stop it. Just stop it. Be in your own lane, on your own path. Celebrate other people's successes and know that you will have successes too. Then find other people in that energy, in that mindset, and create supportive networks. They don't have to just be yoga teachers. It could be local Pilates teachers, could be massage therapists, but people who, like you, are service-based, probably female, putting yourself out there to sell your services. Get together with people who want you to thrive, you want them to thrive. You can have these honest and open conversations with them. So, Natalie and I are able to have really honest and open conversations, when something isn't quite working out, when a training course isn't filling up, when we've got a problem with one of our trainees, or, we're thinking something that's working in our course right now, content, we are able to have that conversation with each other without either of us thinking, oh, that person's failing. No, it is just from a pure place of support. Your vibe will always attract your tribe. Some people will not want to connect with you, and that is good because you only want to work and connect with people who want the same as you do, those supportive networks. Step 6, mentorship. I would like to say, stop right now on future plans for more training courses until you've been through some mentorship. Yes, with me, I would love it, but just hook up with a more experienced teacher than you that you feel would give you the support, give you the confidence you need in your teaching, okay? Stop trying to figure it out alone. We are not meant to do this alone. We are not meant to be by ourselves, putting ourselves out there all by ourselves. It is just so hard, and it is crippling so many people, so many yoga teachers. So on those last 2 points, step 5, support, and step 6, mentorship, we can go out and create our own support networks, and I really do recommend you do that. But you could join my mentorship program and tick box 5 and box 6. So doors to my mentorship program, they open 3 times a year. Although please always, if you go to the page and you find the doors are closed, always add your name to the wait list. It is always really important to do that because sometimes the odd person sneaks in through the wait list. And I always reward people who actually take action on the wait list. So they are open 3 times a year, generally speaking, in the autumn, in the early part of the year in January, and in early summer. So 3 times a year, or adding into wait list. That's the first thing I want to say. But my mentorship program combines support from me, 14 plus years of being a yoga teacher, self-employed, but I started in education and training and teaching when I was 21. I have been training, teaching, mentoring for my whole life, okay? And when you bring me in as your mentor to support you, that's what you get. So you get support from me, and you get community support. We have our own private community space. And if you're like, I cannot join another Facebook group, I am so with you. I cannot join another Facebook group either. I don't use Facebook groups. I use this amazing community platform called Circle. And on that, we have spaces. So we have a space where you can ask for help at any time. And we also have spaces where you can share your wins, super important, and space where you can access the recording of the live calls each month. There are 3 live calls every month. There are 2 live coaching calls and 1 live teaching clinic. I help you literally those 2 hats that you wear as a yoga teacher, teaching and yoga boss. Those calls, they happen at slightly different times every month. I try and fit in with everyone's schedule, but generally speaking, most people can make them, and you get access to the recordings. Community, my support, not to mention on top of all of that, there is some self-paced study work, which you have ongoing access to past the 6 months. That is the 6-module course, The Business of Teaching Yoga, my yoga library, 100 classes on there. You know, keep your practice going, lots of ideas for teaching. My leverage course, so if you want to get going online and create some passive income, that's going to get you going. And then the art of teaching yoga or anything. It's incredible, guys. Like, my mentorship program is to date one of the things that I am most proud about creating, and seeing the transformation, seeing the change, and confidence is that big thing. People join my mentorship program because they're lacking confidence as a teacher, lacking confidence as a yoga boss. And over the 6 months and beyond, because you can stay in as a community member, that confidence really changed. And it's coming from a place of knowing that it's safe to make mistakes, because you can share your mistakes with me and I will help you through them. You have the support of me and everyone in the community, and you have me as your mentor. So the doors are next opening for the next cohort on the 12th of October 2023. It's really important, guys, that you do put your name on the wait list, because if you go and check it out, I'll put the link in the show notes. There are 2 options that you can come in at. You can come in at option 1, which gives you the community support. You can receive support from me in the community, access to our 3 live calls a month for 6 months, and all that self-paced study stuff I was talking about. And option 2 is all of that goodness, plus we meet for a one-to-one where I do your pathway to profit. So I get my eyes on your business and help you craft out exactly what it is you should be doing, where you should be going. And 6 months of WhatsApp voice messaging support. So I literally become on your team and in your pocket. And there's only a limited amount of people I can take on each cohort. So if you're like, I really like the sound of option 2, you do really need to get your name on the wait list. Either way, whatever option you come in at, confidence in your ability as a yoga teacher will be different, will be significantly different, significantly better by the end of 6 months. Not only I'm happy to review lesson plans, talk through course, workshop ideas, retreat ideas, but there's that yoga library, 100 classes in there, so you can just, I don't care, steal my plans. The teaching clinics every month are led by you. I'm like, what would you like me to cover this month? So a few months ago, we did Trikonasana. We've done teaching inversions. We've done chair yoga. We've done restorative yoga. We've done guiding silence in yin yoga. And it goes along the lines of teaching clinics of like a half an hour discussion on that specificness of teaching. And then I do an hour's class, and you have a library of these teaching clinics as well. So it is mentoring and training. It's 100-hour. If you like to collect the hours and the certificates, it's 100-hour further training and mentoring course. Doors open 12th of October. In the show notes, get your name on that wait list, my darling, because yes, practice, allowing yourself to fail, time will eventually build up your confidence, but you can reduce the time it takes by joining my mentorship program, by having immediate access to that brilliant support network and me as your mentor. I just want to finish on an example of that support network. A few months ago, someone in the mentorship program put a lovely post. Actually, it was the first time she did this. She did a video post on Instagram. And somebody, some troll, put a really horrible comment, and she went straight in the community space. And it was a weekend as well, so we don't always check it at the weekends, but she went straight in the community space to say what happened. And loads of us went over to her Instagram and commented on that post, just like how wonderful it was. And just, I was in the community saying, take it, take the comment down, block that user. And I went over to her Instagram post, and I just noticed like 10 plus people had come in, all in the mentorship program, had come in and commented to boost her up. And I was like, that's it for me. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. All right, my darlings, that is part 1, 6 steps to gain confidence as a yoga teacher. Next week, part 2, how to gain confidence as a yoga boss.